Okay. And I'm watching, and I'll let you know as soon as I
Yeah.
see us up.
So, hello, everybody. We are
Mm.
overcoming technical difficulties.
Yay, we're here.
We
Okay,
are.
cool.
Hey, everybody.
Yes, we are live. Everybody sees us. Everybody's watching.
What's up?
Hey, everybody. Hey, Matt. Hey, Billy. Hey, Travis. I haven't even said hi to you guys yet.
Hey.
Um,
Mitch was
we.
stressing.
Oh my gosh, guys. Um, Thank you everybody for waiting with us. We had some technical difficulties from just too many devices. Too many devices as we were packing too much incredible content into one show. Is what I think. And then OBS kind of crapped out on me. And I was like, I was really happy with my preparation this week and everything. And then just the bedrock of our entire operation here just crumbled underneath me. But how are you guys doing?
Doing great. Doing great. It's Friday.
Fantastic. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Beautiful
Well,
weather. Flowers are blooming.
It's spring, baby.
Wonderful,
absolutely.
rainy here. Beautiful,
Yeah,
cold.
we've had a rainy week in Toronto, and I've been just like frantically trying to finish things up before I leave for a week, starting tomorrow. So it's been a frantic and exciting week. But in the evenings, I have been unwinding by playing some mobile games that I saw
Oh,
advertised
yeah.
in my Instagram feed. Um, so this was like kind of a whim topic for us to talk about. And I'm gonna be honest with you, at first I was like, oh yeah, this is kind of interesting. And then I thought about it for another 10 minutes and I was like, well, is it actually gonna be interesting? Is there enough like interesting in these games to talk about for an hour? Talking about these games that show up in your Instagram feed and they all kind of look similar and are they interesting? Then I played a bunch and I think there's a lot to talk about here. I think the games themselves and their mechanics and design and also the kind of meta game of which all of these little games are a part. So you can see I've got a game up right now. Everybody can see this, right? As we've
No,
got
actually,
or
Mitch, it dropped out. I had to like move the
oh
panels around.
no problem, man. Let me make sure.
There we
I'll get
go.
this back for you. Don't worry about it. Hold on.
I see
'Cause I
you.
and then my game will come back soon.
All right, great.
Here we go.
Okay, hold on. I gotta click watch stream. We're just seat of the pantsing, guys. I had to like take over
Oh
and
my
run the
gosh.
stream. All right, let me make sure OBS is. Okay, yeah, that's not too bad. All right, that's orientated. There we go. Okay, let's just scale it up. Yeah,
It says I'm sharing my screen. Oh wait.
you're. Oh wait.
Yeah. I'm sharing my screen. You might just have to click my little thing that says watch. Oh
Yep.
my
Beggars
gosh.
belief. Okay, yeah. I think I got you. Okay. Yep.
Boom. We're good.
Okay.
Everybody got this. Okay, so I had a couple of ideas for how this could go. And actually, one of them is not going to work for our technical setup. So, how about this idea? I hope you guys like it because it's what we're doing. Which is, I've been going through all week, right? So at first, I was really worried about this. I want to talk about these Instagram scam games. And as I was going through my social feed, like the ads weren't showing up anymore. There was a period where, like, yeah, right when I finally wanted them, I couldn't get them anymore. But then I started seeking some out and I was just doing all the engagement. I'm the perfect customer for like Meta's advertising department, right? Started clicking all this stuff. Now my Instagram feed is like nothing but these ads. So I thought maybe a fun place for us to start. I like recorded like a whole bunch of footage of like the first 15 minutes of like 6 different games for us to share, but
Wow.
they're on the other computer that doesn't work. So I thought, why don't we just go through my Instagram right now and we'll click on whatever ads you guys tell me to click on and we'll discover these together.
Mitch is gonna
It's
get
Love it.
computer
I love it.
hepatitis.
Look
yeah.
it,
It's so
let's do
yeah.
it live.
Exciting.
ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
enter?
I'm excited.
My dank Instagram feed.
Let's go.
I think this
All
makes
right,
a lot of
well-
sense actually because it is part of the game experience to download it.
Yeah.
Like you kind of so many of them are like one-time plays where you just get scammed. So the moment that you see it is really part of the entire play experience.
Definitely. I think that's actually important, right? That marketing funnel moment is kind of like the beginning of the experience. Let me try to make this
Yeah,
Does that
okay.
mean we're going to be scrolling through your Instagram right now? Will you go to your
scrolling through my
explore
Instagram,
page?
and you're gonna learn a lot about me because you're gonna see how the ad targets me. Okay, so here we are on my Instagram. Now this image, oh my god, House of Fine Art. Okay, here we go. This is actually relevant to a mobile game that I played. This character, what are these, like the nice aunties or something?
Yeah.
They relate a lot to Merge. Now that's a contestant from Project Runway or something that I follow. Oh, there's Brad. What do we got here? Okay, this is our first ad.
Ooh.
The Ant
Nice.
Underground Kingdom. Now, do you want to swipe past, or do you want to get this game?
I
This
want-
is
no.
basically Pikmin. Let's do this. I love
I want to play
Pikmin.
this. Yeah.
All right. Well, we should look at the ad for a little bit more. All right. Look, there's going to be a talent tree.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Things
Laying
out.
eggs.
We're laying eggs,
Hey.
baby.
And look, they can sense that there's a wow. This is such a fun. I mean, this is really Pikmin on crack. Like Pikmin is good, but this looks even better.
Okay. Yeah. Look at this. No. Yeah. We definitely got.
What?
Wow, there's a sick lizard.
Holy! This game does look awesome.
This looks
looks-
awesome.
Oh, and that's how you lose. It's
Has it
lizard
restarted?
kills
Or is it
your-
still going? It's still going.
I think we're just seeing the end. All right. This is it. This is the end. Download
Okay,
the
now
app.
we're-
Yeah.
now
There
we're
we are.
back.
This is the beginning. Okay. Let's get it. The Ants
I'm
Underground
dying.
Kingdom.
I'm dying to play.
Now let's just look at this. Okay, so we're gonna get this
Chengdu-
third anniversary.
Third
Okay, who's it
anniversary.
developed? Chengdu Star Union Interactive something or other. I can't
Oh
read
yeah,
that
look
text.
that up. Oh come on, man!
Oh.
It's not seeing my face. Hold on, I gotta get my hair out of my face. I can't.
I like your hair, Mitch. It looks nice. Did you get a haircut?
Hey, I got a haircut yesterday.
It looks great.
Is that DLC haircut?
This is most definitely my cranial expansion pack. Oh, quick. Okay, so look at this, man. This is. It's not rated. Even though it says 3-year anniversary. Okay, so let's give it a try.
Yes, maximum
Sure.
notifications
Allow,
on.
allow.
Allow. Access your entire tracking, maximum
Yes, you can
tracking.
access all my photos.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Okay, tap and hold the building to move it. All right, we get an intro cinematic.
In the shiny morning,
Oh, you can
a
hear it.
young Queen Ant is looking for a place. for
Damn,
her
this is
colony.
high production value.
She has been working
might be
on
a
it
good
for
game.
hours, determined and diligent.
Look at her. She's really working.
Finally, here comes the colony. And this is the start of a kingdom.
Is that biologically accurate? The queen does all the digging.
Yeah,
Getting into
I
colony?
feel like she doesn't do anything.
Okay. Are we in game? This is a lot less
we are.
scammy than I thought. I feel
I know.
so far. I feel like it's paying off.
Okay, the first group of worker ants has been hatched. We need a larger space for survival. Let's do it. All right. So, now one of the things I noticed. Okay, I gotta say, there
It's
are.
telling you to click the green spots, and you click the green spots, or are you the green
No,
spot?
it's telling me to click the green spots. I'm clicking the green spots. Now, this is a great place for us to build a worker ant habitat. Okay. What do I got to do? Click that? Okay, just confirm. Since we have a worker ant habitat, we can build a worker ant nest to hatch more ants. Yeah, I want to
Oh,
hatch
yeah.
more ants. Okay,
Oh.
click build. Oh, look at all this stuff. Ant pop. Okay. Here's a
I'm
worker
afraid
ant
you found a
nest.
good game. I'm
This
afraid
is
you found a
insane.
really good
First
game.
try. Well, I mean, we don't know.
When are they going to start trying to show us
It's-
ads and scam us? That's what I want to know.
So this
Well,
is the
we already
really
have like a
exciting
live
part.
clock. We have 100 diamonds.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Uh,
What
Whoa.
was that Latin?
That was
Yeah.
Latin.
This is a highbrow scam game, guys.
God.
Okay,
now I
here
gotta
we
spend
go.
200 leaves to expand my ant hill.
I'm trying to figure out what that clock is about, right? So it's just like, why do we need to
UTC?
know? Why do we need to know UTC time for our currency right
Kind
now?
of
To
ominous.
remind me that I was 20 minutes late starting our stream.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe it's going to prompt you to log in like every 24 hours and take care of your ants.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Well, because that's the really exciting part of all these games I've discovered is the moment of reveal when the real game starts and you start figuring out the crap that you can pay money for,
Yeah.
right?
Some how
like,
worth he
what-
is. Wow.
This is something we've talked about already, though. But like, okay, if we look at Leaf Cutter down in the bottom left, and we look at how the kind of shaders around it, this kind of pulsing, this gradient that flips over it, this kind of the leaves coming off of it, right?
The leaf
That there's
particles, yeah.
that's like it's like being like, you need to touch this, you need to touch this, touch this. There's a pulse to it.
Yeah. Well, that's a really great point. And I mean, you could do a really interesting comparison of all these games that I've played. So by now, like I said, this week I've played about a half dozen of these mobile games. It's really exciting that I never played this one. This is my first experience. But they're all like this. They all create exactly that visual effect that you described, Travis, because they all try to put you on rails as much as possible in the beginning.
Yes.
Which is a game design feature that I actually kind of like. To the point, so this, right now, look, it's telling me this is obviously what I do. There's only one thing to do on this screen. I have no choice. And I'll bet you, if I try to click elsewhere, it's not even going to do anything. You see me trying to click elsewhere? Can't even do it.
That X
right?
doesn't do anything?
Yeah, right.
Wow.
And so now that I've slid all the way to the right, I can't slide it to the left. I can only do exactly what they tell me to do. And they all have a slightly different variation on that same call to action shader visual effect that you described, Travis.
Yeah.
Are you even able to navigate this map right now? Like, can you move around it, or is it just?
I'm
like,
not doing
it.
it. My hands are up here.
You're just
My hands
tapping.
are up
Yeah.
here.
You're just
it-
confirming and it's moving the camera for you. So this is effectively like a cutscene that you're kind of just clicking the next thing to go through.
Yeah.
And this is what we started
Mark?
talking about when we were planning this, was that a lot of the advertisements we're getting, they feel like somewhere between a short film and a game, right? Like you're not doing anything, you're just watching the gameplay itself.
Oh, here we go.
And here
Diamonds,
we're just seeing how limited those
upgrade.
interactions are.
This is it.
You get now we get two options right now, one to spend currency and one to wait.
Right. And look, there's a timer on upgrade, but that timer's frozen. Like, right, it's going to take, I don't know if that's 3 seconds or 3 minutes.
or
But
3
all right,
hours
This is
or
my
something.
This is my first call to spend an in-game currency. So I spend one
That
diamond.
felt good to spend that diamond.
2,000.
Upgrade. Okay. Boom. All right. So I've done look at all the things that I achieved. Okay.
Amazing.
I expanded my anthill. I supplied a leaf cutter with the plant. I don't know how any of that stuff happened, but it's great. Like, I can do all these things, and obviously I'm not even really paying attention, right? I just put oh no, that's not Latin. That's just no, it is Latin. Right. I'm not really paying attention. I'm just putting my finger where it tells me to.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is like a kind of a masterclass in like juice, what game designers call juice, right? Which is minimum input, maximum output, right? You tap the screen and it goes, and gives you this like cascade of sound effects and particles and stuff, so that every interaction feels like powerful and good.
Whoa, man! Look, something's bad is happening. A threat may bring an end to our colony. We must deal with it urgently.
This red pulsing border is really driving that home.
But I gotta say, like, a lot of credit. I mean, we still haven't really seen what the game element of this is, like where the strategy is or where the challenge is. Right? It's not a hand-eye coordination game, and we haven't really seen what the strategy level is, and it hasn't even really revealed its honeypot mechanics yet. So this is interesting, and it's taken a long time to get there.
We're gonna learn about some ants right now. Is that about to happen?
Yeah.
Some photos.
Look at this. It's a messed up game.
Hold
Look
on.
at this.
Big head ant. Big ass headed ant. The scientific Maximus Cranius.
Okay, so we can sit here and wait for 1 minute and 20 seconds to upgrade this ant, to acquire this ant. I can click the speed up button, which I think is going to cost
Speed
money,
up.
or I can just
the
spend
colony
Complete
is
now,
under
complete
attack.
now.
We don't have enough time. The spider
now.
might get us in a
Yeah,
second.
you better speed up, Mitch.
Okay, so I
Here we go,
have
here we go.
one 5-minute speed up tool. Okay, Boom.
Yeah.
Look at those big-headed ants.
Noggin
ants-
boys. Oh my
Oh,
god,
yeah.
they're good. Ooh, that was close.
You know what's really
Yeah.
interesting too?
If we are
There,
there-
how cheap that death animation was. It's like there's all this like super polished animation, but then the moment of killing the ant was like a total. He just literally just disappeared.
Yeah.
Spider, please. Excuse me.
And you feel like that's got to be better, right? Like you were talking about that juice,
Yeah.
right? Those animations that feel like you got to make a person feel you got to get some particles or something coming out when you do a good thing, so that I want to kill more beetles.
Well, what it tells you is that killing spiders is not the point of this game, right? The killing a
Right.
spider is like a total afterthought. Clicking the timer and unlocking the next timer is where you get
Right.
like, all this stuff. Like, whoa, yeah, bah, right? Like,
That's such a great point, Matt. Yeah. Like where there's the most shiny animations, that's the real game.
exactly.
That's the real game. Yeah, killing the ant had no money spent on those animations. That's not the real game.
yeah. I love how they put. Why did they put Latin in there? What was the decision there?
I gotta say, I mean, this game is a terrible idea. I think, right? Like there are no charismatic mammals in this game. This is really different.
It's true.
This
Just
is
bugs that everybody hates.
yeah, exactly.
I think it's in the like weirdly satisfying category. You know, people who like to watch pimples being popped on YouTube and stuff.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
ew,
yeah.
my god, it's ew, I can't stop watching it.
I mean, I do in my like game design lexicon. I definitely have what I call ant farm games. So this is like a literal ant farm game. Like RimWorld is like a kind of an ant farm game, right? We're just watching your little guys running around and having psychological meltdowns.
I don't. I
Have you made any kind of choice yet, Mitch?
No, I haven't made any choice. I'm still just
Yeah,
doing
he
what
has.
they say
He's chosen
and
to
getting
wait
the
or
animation.
spend
That's right.
diamonds.
Yeah, that's where he had a key decision was, is he going to spend his diamonds?
Yeah, it's true. That was my big decision.
I mean, you know
okay,
what?
Wait, now.
I think that there's a part of me that appreciates as a game designer is what they've done here is by making a basically completely linear game, they've saved tons of money on production, right? So they have like this very polished single track experience, right? So it's like, and because it looks like a game, it kind of makes you think that there might be this richer, more complicated world. But I think as we kind of recognize, like could just be a linear animation, the whole thing, where you just literally click build and then it just like maybe there really is no digging system. It's just literally like, okay, show the next sprite of the 6 tiles dug out, right?
I mean, at some point, this has to become like an actual like 4K game, right?
I don't know.
Or
What happens if
SD,
you
right?
can
That's
you
the
click any of those shiny
implication.
things right now?
No, like clicking these. I don't know what these shiny things are. Oh no, it says I can. Okay, I built something. I don't know how, and I gained a
You
speed
did
up
something.
icon. Yeah, and I think I think I get to choose. Okay, these little lights, if they're adjacent to revealed parts of the map, I can send my ants to dig them out, and there's stuff under here, so that's good. Okay, so here's the thing I can
this is a
do.
real game.
You're winning.
Loot boxes.
Now this is. It's funny, always the call to action. So this is really different from some other games that I got. And if we play a couple of these Instagram games and they're not, representative of neat things, I have a few queued up because this is really on rails. This is the most on rails I've ever seen. A lot of the time, I'm looking at this menu, I'm looking at this overworld map, and there is so much crap. There are so many icons everywhere. I don't know what to do. But it's always down here on the bottom left will tell you your next quest. All right. And what I can do that will give me the most, rewards. Okay. So always down bottom left. Okay. My third task is a feeding ground. And apparently that's going to give me 500 meats. So I got to go. So this is what they really want me to do. What's this? Ryutan Zed wants a thing. All right. They want me to go here. They want me to choose this spot. get a spot, and then click build.
Whoa,
and choose.
are these now players that are chatting?
I don't know.
Can you chat with them?
Let's try. No. Okay. What happens if I click these? I also love this. Is actually great for streaming. You can see where I'm tapping. Look, I'm trying to tap everything on the UI up here. Nothing is open to me yet. I can't even tap my inventory. We're still really on Rails. Now build. No, I can't click that. I can only click the things they want me to click right now. All right, and I have to do this, and I have to do that. Now what do I have to do? This. Now apparently I did it. I did.
Good job.
Um,
Proud of you, Mitch.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys.
True elite gamer.
Oh yeah. This is wild. I think even within the genre of mobile games that are trying to get your money, this is a pretty poor example, right? There's a lot of things doing wrong. No charismatic mammals. One of the things I found playing a lot of these mobile games is a lot of them do have different mechanics, but one thing they all have in common, boobs. Okay?
Yeah.
They all have a lot of boobs. Everywhere you go, when you do something, a character with boobs comes on the stage and says, "Great job."
Yeah.
And here we have ants. And I just got a feeling this is not going to be a big moneymaker for like Shenzhen Software Concern Limited.
You know what? You know who was a great pioneer of the boobs meta of terrible mobile games is our beloved crypto main character Gabriel Layden of Limit
Really?
Break. Yeah, the guy who's behind Digidaigaku. He had a terrible mobile game company called Machine Zone that they did. What was the game where they hired famous young woman with boobs? Unfortunately, don't remember her name. But they hired her to be in all the ads, and then shot through the roof in terms of their user metrics.
Yeah, well, and now that really is the meta. Okay, guys, so what do we want to do? We've been playing Ant Game for a while. You want to move on to another one, or should we keep going with Ant Game? We haven't even gotten to the part where we spend money yet.
I think I'd like to see another.
You want to see another? I think so too.
Yeah.
I think this was really interesting because it was so different, but that's made it kind of a dud. All right, so here we go. Back to Instagram. You ready?
Oh yeah, Game of War. Game of War is the.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. First
Rush
thing up.
Royal.
Okay, let's try to be
Tower
picky. Here.
defense?
Let's try to be picky.
This
Let's
looks like
look
a
at
regular
three
tower
ads and
defense
pick
game. I don't think this doesn't look scammy enough for my taste.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's Rush Royale official. Let's see. All right, that's figure skating sensation Johnny Weir.
I just want to say I love looking at
Here
your
we go.
Instagram right now. This as a performance in general is amazing.
Right.
TWD
Okay,
Survivors.
TWD Survivors.
This has everything that I think of when I think of these social media scam games.
I get
it's
a lot
road,
of ads.
It's
Yeah.
a lot of people just being exploded. This one is behind the shoulder, right? Like where it feels like it's a little bit. Usually, kind of, it's that third-person perspective from further away. Oh no, it switched. Okay, now.
Oh, yeah,
It's
look.
everything.
I love
You're
this.
chasing
Okay,
them,
this
you're
looks good. This looks
This
good.
is it.
Hell yeah.
Amazing.
This looks like a very high production value game.
Can we please watch this to the end though? Because I want to see
Yeah.
like how far it goes. Okay, that was it. All right.
That was it.
Okay. All right, let's look
Is
at
this
one
a
more
Walking
ad.
Dead? Is this an actual Walking Dead, or is this like just trying to
Oh,
look
yeah.
like The Walking
Oh
Dead?
yeah, it is. Yeah, TWD. Oh, I wonder if that almost disqualifies it. Like this is too legit.
But
I
it's
don't know.
crazy that they put all these parachutes and shit into The Walking Dead. Wait, can we figure out, is it actually The Walking Dead, or is it just...
Yeah, yeah.
It could be.
look-
It could be
look at
like
this
The
logo.
Waking Dead.
The Walking Dead.
No, it is The
Survivor.
Walking Dead. Okay, yep, okay, they got the license.
Think it's
Let's look at
licensed
one-
though?
I don't know.
Look at Nick H.
Nick Hamilton's in there.
showing his NFTs. Okay, and then this is our another ad.
This looks kind of cool.
I'm way more interested in those ones like the Walking Dead one though, where it's
All right.
there's nothing. I can't imagine the gameplay is like. What's the actual gameplay of that?
Well, I think that there's something. I'm going to install this. I think there's something really honest about this ad. 'Cause
Oh,
it
wait, let's
shows
look at the
all-
store page a little bit. Let's just see, like,
Yeah. Really, I'm surprised it's low on the chart for strategy.
who's the developer? Game of Survival? Is that the...
I'm just going to start
Galaxy
installing
Play
it. while we
Technology
talk.
Limited.
Got it. Of course, my favorite.
Mhm.
Noted,
What
noted
what are
development
in-app
company.
purchases we can get down at the bottom?
Oh,
No,
yes, that's what
Okay.
we
Check
need to
reviews.
really know about. Wait, what data used to track you? A lot of interesting contact info.
all right.
Yeah.
You guys might be getting some ads for Walking Dead
You
Survivor soon.
might be asked to spam your grandma.
Oh, cool.
Okay, valuable package. Ooh, a valuable package sounds good.
All right. Are we ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Um,
we are.
Anyway, I thought the ad was pretty honest because here's what I've found is that all these games, they have, like, there's always the action layer, and that is, we got to come up with a term for this. Like, that's just the nugget in the center of the game. That's just your little, it's typically, there's your little bit of hand-eye coordination game that you get to play in little stages. That's one quest, right? And then in almost every single one of these games, it then expands out to the more like 4X city builder game where you got to spend a lot of gems and stuff to upgrade your barracks and upgrade your warrior hall and upgrade your hospitals, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is a
I am
very like traditional mobile game format, which is you take the smallest possible core game loop and then tack a complicated economy and progression system onto it. This is like basically the mobile game sort of formula to some extent. Or at least for games, I don't know what they call this tier of games, but you have like hyper casual games where there's none of that and it's literally just like Geometry Dash or something, and then you have like the next layer up, which adds like, yeah, some kind of like longer session time and progression systems.
Okay, so that advertisement kind of started where you're behind, you're running and gunning,
Mhm.
and now it's kind of, but the actual gameplay of this is the second part of what that advertisement was, which
Yeah.
is like this overhead kind of thing.
Gaining resources. What this guy
Yeah.
just doesn't even care.
And also 2D, not 3D.
Yeah.
But so it makes me wonder if it becomes clear that like there seems to be a certain type of gameplay that becomes viral on the internet, right? Right now, it seems like that gameplay mechanism where you're just walking along and auto firing at guys in front of you and going through gateways that say plus or minus however many characters, that really seems like the viral video game meta right now. And it occurred to me, I don't know if this is the case, but it occurred to me that when you structure a game like this, that minimum gameplay loop, right, then you build the economy around it, you can just, like, those little, like, you know, pull the pin mechanic games or those little, like, auto walk forward and shoot games, those are really easy to program, and you can just plug in whatever is the hot gameplay mechanic right now into your 4K world builder, right? Do you
Yeah.
think that's how they do it?
Well, like we saw with the Ant game, the place where they put all the effort and thought is in the upgrade path and the timers and the stuff that gets you to spend diamonds. So it makes sense, right? Like this is the actual verbs of the game, like to shoot or to run or to chop trees or whatever, are very, very kind of vestigial, right? And then the kind of the metagame around it is where the money is coming from, and that's what gets all the attention.
And so let's just see when we get to the point of buying stuff. I also want to point out right now, I'm not doing anything. This game is playing itself right now.
Oh, is it? Oh, I was
I was
wondering.
gonna say,
that.
you're actually really
Okay.
No,
good.
I was doing a little bit, but all I need to do is kind of just walk in the direction of stuff, and then stuff will happen.
Look at the
If you
animations
don't
on
do
this.
anything, does nothing
compare.
happen? We missed our first boob shot.
Nice cheap title card.
I guess it doesn't fully count.
Voice acting.
Yeah, this is really high. Well, look, if you get the Walking Dead license, you spend some money.
Although
you know?
I've got to say, like, game production wise, looks very cheap to me.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to know, like, budget-wise, how is a game like this made? What does it cost? What is the revenue?
We're all gonna die off.
Yeah.
Come on, what are we gonna do?
Well, they had to pay a chunk for the license. I think that's why the art is cheap, is because this is the famous thing about licensed games, is that like half the budget goes to the license, and then another quarter goes to the marketing budget, or another, 25 to the license, 50 to the marketing budget, and then 25% to the like actual production budget.
You from around here?
So one of the things I was reading about, I did some research and tried to read some papers on this stuff, right? Like at this point, it is just well understood what your in-app revenue is going to be from your game, right? And then it's understood like what your ad buys should be. You spend $1 on ad buys per user, because every user gives you on average $2 worth of in-app purchases, and then you just loop it. You just loop it and loop it and loop it, right?
Well, yeah, and you just once you get those metrics optimized, then you figure out what your like total lifetime value per player is, and then you dump money in the top if it's positive. And that's actually why this market has gotten so gross, is because it's become really, really user acquisition. It's just become really capital intensive. So it's like only highly optimized and capitalized entities now can kind of like really play. And then there was like the kind of hyper casual end of things that came out, which is like just the it's like literally a square and a circle and some music, and then they would just make like hundreds of those and spam them out.
We've got to patch up that broadcast station.
And use ads. Like this is obviously targeting the in-app purchase market, right? Because it tries to give a more premium feel. Oh, here we go. Instant fix.
Oh,
you almost missed the important part of the game here. Fix
Who's,
up broadcasting station.
A couple of thoughts.
So
One was
presently
like
decreasing.
these are like, it reminds me of the visuals remind me of like Tropico, of like PC games from maybe like 10 to 15 years ago.
Yes.
Of this kind of isometric kind of art direction where it's nicely illustrated. And it makes like, is there like a specific demographic for these kind of games? Like do kids like these games at all? Like, is who's the market for this?
Not kids. This is marketed for kind of like, I would say 20 to 40-year-old men.
that checks out given how boobsy many of the games are.
Yeah.
I mean, it really, like, guys, I'm not trying to harp on the boobs. Like, it really is a core element of the genre. Like, you cannot talk about free-to-play mobile games without talking about boob physics.
Yeah.
Okay, now I can recruit new characters. It's just so.
You recruited the pathetic orphan?
It was my only choice. I couldn't recruit the other one.
Soft, Mitch.
Like,
you're never going to survive the apocalypse recruiting a pathetic orphan.
This is just a wild experience. Like, I'm talking to you guys. I'm barely paying attention. I just always know what to do. Like, there's just obviously a button. This doesn't have as good of graphics as showing me where to click, but it's still really obvious. I have
Both
no
games
idea.
have had level ups where like you had completed multiple tasks at once. Like the Ant game, the first two chapters, like you went to that menu and everything was already completed, and then it was that third chapter where you started doing them one at a time. And
What the shit happened here, kiddo?
Same thing.
Sorry.
What? Did something happen?
No, it's just the line. What the shit happened here, kiddo? It was voice acted too. I'm sorry, Travis.
No, it's okay.
What the shit happened here, Mitch?
I don't know. I don't know what this shit is happening anywhere. Like, I just know this is just so... Okay, there's a fight. not at all any of that gameplay that we saw in the ads, huh? Also,
No.
I'm not doing anything. Right? My hands are right
Use
here.
an orphan? Okay. Can you
Are the
can you impact
advertisements
it
all
at
made
all
by
if
the
you
same
do touch?
Can you
Sorry, what was
can
that?
you do
Can you
something?
actively
if-
try to lose?
Yeah, what do you do if you touch the screen? It's funny. This is it. We're getting into the 0-player games category here.
Well, this was a thing that Travis was saying when we were talking about doing this episode, was how just watching the games on Instagram often feels like a 0-player game, right?
Yeah.
But all it is, here's what I find interesting. These
You're
are just
moving
there's
now.
really
I see the
nothing-
joystick. You moved them.
Yeah. They're using the virtual joystick
So
mechanic.
you
now I
you
am
move
moving.
them kind of into like an area, and then they auto chop
Yeah.
the trees.
Automatically attack.
I see.
A really scary fat guy in the top right. Let's go check him out.
Okay.
Try to die, Mitch.
Okay, I'll try to die. It says I have to collect veggies. I can't go out here where I can't go out
The fog
here
attacks
where
you?
the fog is. I have to find veggies. Oh, I'll bet you these are like tomato. They don't look like
Flashing.
tomato. There we go.
Ah.
Okay. I can't die now.
Now
I
you can
don't
pick up
know
that
the-
fire.
Yeah. 'Cause
You
I've
burn the
deliberately-
tomatoes.
Tomatoes have given you a Molotov cocktail.
Okay, and now I think. Okay, so I'm gonna try to die by doing nothing. Here are my hands. I'm just watching with you guys.
This is exciting.
Oh look, he's gonna blast on it.
Oh, he just puked on you. Your main character is not losing any health. Oh, no, he is losing health. He's green.
Yeah, my tank, but like
He's-
hardly any.
He's tough. He's strong. Wow, this boss is really going down. Oh, look, he just disappeared, too. I love how they
Yeah.
just disappear.
Because, man, it's such a great observation. Because that's not the game.
Yeah. This is the game. This is exciting.
Yeah.
Look at this. Ooh, animation. Collecting lumber.
Do you have streamers and confetti in the post-apocalypse?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. When you upgrade the tool shed, you get streamers and confetti in the apocalypse. Otherwise, why would anybody upgrade the tool shed?
Tool sheds are exciting,
Hey.
Mitch.
Yo, the apparently the time change did something to my calendar, and this call's now totally in conflict with the thing that I have to go to.
Oh no!
Fuck. Yeah, I have to drop. I'm really sorry. I should have.
Okay,
I
I'm
should
sorry,
have
Billy.
flagged that before.
Bye,
Okay,
Billy.
we'll
Have
figure
fun.
out. We'll figure out our calendars later. But okay, nice to see you, Billy.
See ya.
Out.
Okay, we got our first ad to buy stuff. 200 gems, and it's dude. Look at this crazy deal.
Wow, it's a
It's normally
10,000% reduction.
$139.
Wow.
That's wild.
Typographically,
It's
once
still
again, just like we have like gradients on top of bevels, we have glistening, gleaming things going on across it too. It's like it's what is it? 10,000% with a ribbon.
10,000% off, Mitch.
It's 10,000% off. It doesn't even make sense.
Only once.
Yeah. Oh man. Did
Only
you get
once.
Glenn?
Glenn, not to be confused with Glenn played by a real actor, just vaguely similar looking likeness.
It was Stephen Yoon who played him in the show, right? I never watched
Yes.
this show.
All dead.
Stephen Yoon is great.
The whole damn town
That's
hall's
his,
dead.
that's who I was thinking of.
It's okay. It's shit.
These kind of bobbing character animations are interesting. It's like a very different style.
Yeah.
He died like everyone.
I mean, they're
else.
not bad.
It's not.
Come on, let's
It's shit. She really likes to say it's
grab
shit.
some fresh air.
Yeah.
If you play your cards right, I may even teach you how to juggle.
Heartwarming moment. He's going to teach the orphan how to juggle.
I
Yeah.
can try.
Are any of these like assets like Unity store assets? Does this like give from a game design perspective? Does this like seem handmade? Does this seem like coming from a kit? Like
I-
the hammer, the kind of tear sheet, like the present box. Like, does this all feel like it's from something?
I would guess that all the present box and the note icon and the hammer and stuff, I would guess that that's all asset content, you know what I mean? And like the veggies and the lumber and stuff. The main art assets, it's hard to tell, honestly. The good thing about making a zombie game is just really easy to buy tons and tons of zombie apocalypse assets, so it's a good solid genre to make if you don't want to spend any money. Also really easy to program the AI because they just lurch towards you.
Hey, I'm getting to make decisions now, right? Like I'm getting to click this hammer here and decide whether I want to build a fire station or a square or limited decorations. And I made that decision myself. I'm a big boy right now, and I don't know what any of this stuff does, right? Like I don't know why this defense tower, like what purpose it allows me to solve, and to what, like, inside what game mechanic, because I still don't understand what the ostensible declared point of this game is. I guess it must be to defeat zombies in that sort of walking around isometric combat, real-time combat world that I was playing in before. I suppose that is ostensibly the game. That's what's being presented as the game. And all of these structures that I build
Spot anything up in that
are
defense
supposed
tower,
to
Connie?
help me in that goal. And then all of the in-game currencies that I can purchase for real money or, get in the loop of earning through gameplay, help me build the structures that help me play the ostensible game that is not the game, right? And that hierarchy of game, meta game, meta game, that's every single one of these. And I gotta say, when you talk about how kind of sad and gross this whole genre has become, I was expecting it to be a lot worse. I was expecting the quality of the games to be a lot worse, and I was expecting them to be a lot more undifferentiated at that core nugget level. And actually, they are different. Some of these are zombie isometric shooters. Some of these are that, viral, straight-ahead auto shooters, and some of them are ant construction games. The structure and the metagames are always the same, but I have been surprised at how different the interior kernel games are.
The core game loop. Yeah, no, I think that's true. I mean, the thing that is also, as much as we mock these games, the thing that's really important, if we're thinking about video games as a whole category, this is now like 50% of the market in terms of revenue. Like, this is a huge, huge part of the world of video games and a huge part of people who play games. This is like the experience that they're having,
This is exciting. The first opportunity for me to share this on social media, let people know that I got this and expand the game. So there you go. Should we tell Dimitri that we unlocked Shane?
Yes.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, Dimitri. Okay, here you go. All right. Just let Dimitri know that we unlocked Shane.
Well done.
Hey, good guy, Dimitri. Good guy.
Good
He's
guy.
gonna be,
Definitely a
he's
good
gonna
guy.
be glad that we did this.
Hey, Mitch, could you possibly show us that mansion game that you showed me?
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's a fun one. That's a fun one.
If
Okay, let's get out of here.
that kind of animation thing or whatever, that,
Yeah.
like, because it was really interesting, like, because for me, this is the game design, game mechanics aside, the thing that's most interesting to me is, like, is this a new genre? Like, is this like of entertainment? Like, maybe not new, but like, is this like
Ooh,
here we go. What
Here
is
we
this?
go. Oh.
Okay, this is a style of advertisement I see a lot on Tumblr, where it's like a lot more social interactions between people.
Yeah, and it's kind of narrative, right? When you catch your girlfriend with the mafia boss. Oh, she's mine. Brutal. Cucked by the mafia boss. so poor. Oh, have fun staying poor, Mr. Protagonist. We're not going to get to play out these scenarios in the game, right?
No. I have been impressed. They will let I think this is the game, right? Is find I suspect find the right micro gameplay loop for you. You know, whether it's isometric shooter, whether it's first person robot battle, whether it's like jabroni dating simulator. And like within that possibility space, there is some neat ideas, right? And then you just put it into that same 2-layer packaging that we've described, right? That's always the same. But that's really the genre of these games. It's really interesting. And in all these different like micro game genres and like aesthetics and styles and attitudes, really, you just find a different. You're just trying to find a different audience to like scheme microtransactions out of. Here's War Robots.
What I like about the Mafia game is how it leans into this weird, like, kind of psychosexual drama, you know, like of the guy's girlfriend getting stolen and him getting spit on. And, like, this is not something that we see in, like, normal video games. This, I think, is, like, a product of the advertising meta, right? That it's like we have to grab attention with this, like, weird kind of perverse, whoa, look at this. It's inside Fortnite. They're playing Fortnite.
I played this one, and this is actually what the game is. It's like a massively multiplayer like online shooter. Like the mechanics are kind of like silly, but this is actually the game.
I like the idea of getting bigger. Ooh, yeah, this is our kind of stuff here.
Oh, okay. This is kind of more like along the lines of the mansion one you showed me.
Mitch,
where...
So we can do the mansion. I would guarantee you that this is about exactly the same thing. But I'll show, because Travis asked. I'll show exactly the ad he's looking for right after we've seen this one. Right after we've seen.
Because I want to see how long this goes on for. Because I was talking to someone about these games, and they're like, "Yeah, the ad is actually the point of the game. That you get people to, the more compelling you make the ad, the more time you spend on it, the more people that see the ad. Like that, right. If you can keep someone's attention. So throwing in game mechanics, game design, level up mechanics, all of this as like little UI elements that are in these animations, these are all potential like triggers that'll keep someone just engaged with this advertisement for a little bit longer.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So I'm going to show you guys the ad that Travis was talking about. This is the one that I sent him. Save. I saved a whole bunch of these, and then I realized I stopped having to. So this was the ad for Merge Mansion.
This, I think, is a huge game, actually.
Yeah. Well, it seems to like how. So this grandma from Merge Mansion seems to be like a viral character. Like fans are actually like remixing grandma into new content. So this is a great moment for Merge Mansion. So this is the actual gameplay. This is what you do in Merge Mansion. It's really weird. It's just a match. It's just a matching game.
Yeah, this genre of merge games has gotten really huge in the past 5 years. It's kind of like the emergent, like, kind of replaced Match 3, and this is all downstream from.
Oh, there we got our isometric view. We got all kinds of things happening.
This is all downstream from Triple Town by Spry Fox, Daniel Cook, who's like an amazing game designer. And if you like, if having like a real version of this kind of merge gameplay is intriguing, you should play Triple Town.
Triple Town?
Yeah.
So here we go. Here's Merge Mansion, and I apologize. I'm about 20, 30 minutes into this game. So you missed. There's a very limited opening cinematic that is like the ad. The premise of this game is that our character is inherited a mansion, but they need to fix it up or the city will declare it condemned and tear it down. Grandma seems like she has a secret. There's a reason why she doesn't want you to fix up the mansion. Uh-oh. So there's some kind of mystery there. That's the narrative element. I got to fix up the mansion. I got to do these things. Like, for instance, I should probably cut the, I should cut the tarp off this statue, but to do that, I need a knife. So to get a knife, I have to play the main gameplay loop. Main gameplay loop is I go to the garage, and here's all the stuff in my garage. I got to clean it up, man. The way that I got to clean it up is by matching things. For instance, these seed buckets, oh, these are already in their final form, right? So these seed buckets produce things, I match the seeds, all right, and then I match the seeds and they turn into new things, and I match those new things, and then I get that. What am I looking for, though? I'm looking for see, I'm really good at playing this game. I'm looking for flowers, I'm looking for a knife.
There was an interesting thing that Dan Cook said about this, the guy who kind of invented this genre. Tripletown is really difficult because there's like a spatial problem that you have to manipulate the things to get them next to each other, to get them to merge, and they merge automatically when you get them, like a more traditional match 3 style. And what these merge, the kind of merge game version of that, is they just made it really, really easy. Like here, you can just drag. There's no spatial limitations at all. You can just drag whatever to wherever, which is I think is an interesting characteristic of these, is like removing friction and removing difficulty and kind of like, meaningful, thoughtful challenge to just turn it into like a clicking.
But it's not even like, it doesn't even seem to me like it's important to interact with it. It's like that the game mechanics are so few and far between that you might as well just watch it. And that kind of like, even in that advertisement, right? It's like you're combining these things to make a new thing so that you can take that thing and combine it with this thing. And I like, is that something that like would be, is that satisfying, or is just watching that happen satisfying?
My suspicion is that it's about, I think for some people who are really into the satisfying video genre, they can get that dopamine hit just from watching the satisfying video on TikTok or just from watching the advertisement on Instagram. But all these games are putting you on rails right away, and they're making sure, like you said, I completed 2 chapters of Ant Adventure, okay, without really trying. And I got a lot of confetti, and I got a lot of particle shaders right away. And it's essentially trying to get me addicted to a sense of achievement.
Yeah.
Because I'm a loser. I achieve very little in my regular life, but when I'm on Merge Mansion, all right, I'm cleaning up this yard in a way that I cannot clean up. My garage, this is no lie, my garage right now is a mess, and I am avoiding fixing it. But in Merge Mansion, I'm great at it. I get addicted to that little sense of achievement. That's why I think the gameplay loop is important, because I think maybe most people, maybe not most people, but definitely just enough people to be an addressable market do need their finger to be the thing that triggers the confetti particles so they can want to do it again.
Yeah, no, I do think that just watching somebody else click first of all, watching somebody else click and get the confetti particles is a viable genre too. It's like loot box streamers, right? And also gambling streamers. Exactly. Like gambling, there's an interesting thing going on in crypto now with people streaming meme coin gambling, and then they'll like mix they'll play like high stakes hands of blackjack in between gambling on meme coins, right? So it's like watching people have dopamine experiences is a viable genre in and of itself. But I do think that there's an important feedback loop of I click the button and trigger the particle effects that is giving a different kind of dopamine hit that I think, I agree with you, Mitch, that I think is a big part of the satisfaction of this. I mean, I think that there's also a kind of more dystopian view, which is that we're getting into a world where it's harder and harder for people to have kind of meaningful sense of achievement in their lives, right? They're in a world where they're kind of curtailed and bullied and, closed off from any kind of sense of satisfying achievement, and that this becomes a kind of proxy for that. they're working some awful job where they aren't getting any kind of sense of progress or achievement. But in this world, there's a kind of a promise of achievement, right? If you sit here and click for an hour, you're going to get a pop-up box and a loot box and a particle effect, and you're going to be like, okay, that was an hour well spent.
Matto, I agree with that so much, and I think that you expressed that really, really well. It's cynical, it's nihilistic. I also think it's true, and one of the reasons why I thought this genre of game was so interesting to talk about is because it reveals precisely that about the world, but it also formalizes it in this way that I find fascinating as an artist. One of the things I keep coming back to about this genre of game, this doesn't matter. Doesn't matter whether this is matching stuff or whether it's shooting zombies in a first-person like perspective, or whether it's planning an ant colony. It's not the real game, and in the same way that the actual substance of the achievement doesn't matter. The substance of achievement doesn't matter, right? We're addicted to the feeling of achievement, and a string of hollow achievements is just as good for people as a string of meaningful achievements, right? Ultimately, you're going to get 90% of the same feeling cleaning up the grandma's mansion here in Merge Mansion as you will from building 20 orphanages. You're 90% of the way there.
Yeah, no, I think that there's some it is a dark perspective. I think also here we go. This is the important part of the game. I mean, I think the also importantly, right, this is they're selling that dopamine to you, right? You're paying for that feeling, and I think there's an interesting, to your point, Travis, about is it relevant that the person themselves is clicking? I do think there is, because, and I think all of these games are kind of calibrating this along this gradient of just enough friction and just enough clicks and waiting and kind of tension and release of, okay, I had to click 20 times on 20 different things. Now I get the dopamine hit, versus if I do it 10 times or I do it one time. If this was just clicking loot boxes and just particle effect, just like doom, 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 right? Just open, open, open. You would get desensitized to that very quickly, and that would decline very quickly. Whereas it's like, no, if I have to wait 30 seconds before I get another hit, that is kind of keeping you on that curve of like tension and release that is that continues to be satisfying. So the resistance is important. The friction and the resistance is like a key part of that kind of tension and release cycle.
Yeah.
And I'll bet you the timing of those release cycles, it clearly is engineered so well. Like they know exactly how much time it takes to get a rise out of you. So many of these games are timed games, right? Like this is how this game makes money, right? These buckets will keep making things that I can merge. Merging is fun. They should do a better job on the merge animation, right? It should be more
juicy,
confetti.
Yeah,
they need more confetti. They need better shaders on this. But if I tap this enough, it'll be tapped out. Like this vase right here, it has the stopwatch, which means that I can't play the game anymore until that stopwatch is full. That's going to take hours unless I buy some stuff that resets my time. So that's one of the common mechanisms. And it's so weird that you'll pay money to not have to wait another 5 minutes to play this crappy low effort game, but people will if they're addicted to the dopamine loop. Oh, there we go. Now I got a crate. And then, there's another really interesting thing that I learn or that is reinforced by playing these games. because I think about this all the time in my own art, right? I make art where I want, there to be a level to it, and that level is contained or hinted at a micro surface level, and it is analogous to a larger level that is representative of society or whatever. And I think when I'm making art all the time about which levels matter, like what actually matters. And what I learned from these games is, okay, the top level, what we'll call the superstructure or the hyperstructure, that is the superstructure that actually extracts money from the user, that obviously really matters, and it's perfected. That's why it's the same every time. Where it's a timer, there are always are going to be 3 different types of currency, so that they can fall slightly out of harmony with each other, so that you can be flush in one and running low on the other. And there's always some weird currency conversion rate. Anyway, that structure really matters, and it matters so much, and it's standardized. These middle layers of the sandwich do not matter at all. Plug in whatever you want. You make it a grandma yard simulator, right? You make it an ant colony builder, whatever. And then the teeny tiny layer of it, all right? That particle effect that Travis pointed out at the very beginning of the show, that shader, that glossiness, that also really matters. And those need to be not quite as exact as that top hyperstructure layer, but you get a little bit of freedom of expression of it, but that is super duper important to making it all work. It's a top layer, it's the very, very base layer, and then like that surface, literally glossy layer that are the most important.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's 100% true, and that when you looking at this from a game design perspective, usually the way you would, if you're trying to design something like this, you think of it as a series of nested loops, right? You have the shortest, most high frequency loop is the core game loop. Like, so if it's a shooting game, that's what does it feel like to push the button and fire the gun and kill the enemy, right? That's kind of like, and that's high frequency. People are doing that every 5 seconds or whatever. Then there's like a loop of, let's say, defeating an encounter, like clearing a room. Then there's clearing a level. Then there's like you're in your base buying guns or upgrading your houses or whatever it is, right? Which is the kind of outside loop. And then rarely there's some kind of larger loop around that, right? Which might just be finishing the whole game, right? Like, let's call it the campaign. And trying to optimize, and each genre is trying to optimize those things in different ways, right? And in this, it's kind of like that level, that third outermost loop, which is where the money extraction happens, which is the part that has gotten the most kind of systematized and formalized. I think it's really, really important to also know, for people who aren't aware, that a huge part of this industry is about analytics and data science. That if you look at like the staffing of one of these companies, it's like the people who are actually like drawing sprites for the game or programming interactions in the game is a very small team, and then you have the user acquisition team, which is very important, right? And then the people who are tracking and monitoring user behavior and trying to optimize. Like, I mean, there's a reason that these things are all so highly optimized, which is that they spend tons and tons of time and money. And like, if you go to mobile game conferences, nothing is about art or game mechanics. The whole thing is about all these like ARPU, DAU, LTV, all these acronyms that are like, average revenue per user, daily active users, lifetime value per customer, right? And it's just all a bunch of spreadsheets and charts of lines moving up and down, and just trying to find that place where your user acquisition cost is low enough, your lifetime value is high enough, and then once you find that, then you pour money in the top of the thing, and you just pour money into the hamster wheel. Yeah.
Can you tell me more about the mobile gaming conferences? Do you know anything more about this?
I mean, it's basically mobile gaming conferences. Well, it's all business focused, right? The mobile gaming business is way more kind of like business professionalized than, let's say, PC gaming or like the indie game scene, obviously, or even like console game development, right? Those things are not data optimized in the same way that like very few indie games like seriously use analytics, right? They're not.
So these
really...
people aren't like at GDC, like they're not. At,
No. They are
not
at GDC. They're at
Okay.
GDC, but I mean GDC is the big games conference of the year, right? I forget, it's like 20,000 people fly to San Francisco, right? It's really, really big. So there will be, at GDC, there will be tracks. There's like the mobile track, and it's going to be all business stuff, right?
Okay.
And then like if you have like console and PC game developers, they might be talking about shaders or animation or game AI or things that we think about as like the content of video games. But the mobile game, literally nobody is talking about those things on the mobile game side. Because as you can see, right, it's this kind of 2D artwork. It's very formulaic creatively. There is really no, once in a while there'll be like new genre, like merge games come out, and then like Merge Mansion was a big hit, and so here we have it. And so that will be, people will be like, oh yes, and they'll talk about like merge games will be like hot for a while, and maybe people will talk about that as like a meta, but there is zero discussion of the content of the games, and it's only about like an exciting moment in mobile gaming. This is like, I don't know, 10 years ago or 8 years ago was when Crossy Road came out, right? And they figured out the formula of rewarded ads, right? So you like can watch an ad to unlock a loot box or a character or whatever. They were giving you little characters out of a gacha machine. And that was an exciting development in the field of mobile games because it was like a new idea in the monetization loop where users were opting into watching ads as opposed to being interrupted with ads. And that was a very important development in the kind of like mobile game meta, which has now become, I think, more standardized part of things. But so that is where the innovation and the thinking is happening, is on the business model level, not so much on the game and creative level.
And that's really, it kind of breaks my heart that mobile gaming has gone that way.
Yeah.
Because I'm a big believer in phones as a platform for art, really.
Sure.
I make this video game art, and I've wanted people to play it on phones. And as I've been thinking about my next projects, I think just as an artist and from somebody who believes in trying to make public art that is accessible to people, I would like, my next art game to be a mobile app that people can play on their phones or tablets. But then I wonder, is there just too much stink on the platform, right? That you don't even give yourself, and like to succeed, it's not like I want to sell 1 million units or something, right? It's just would be so far removed from the expectations of creating that, money extraction loop that I don't know if it could work. The other reason why it's kind of a shame to me that the mobile games industry turned out like that is because there's actually a lot about the design of some of these games that I really like. I love throwing you into the gameplay loop right away. I think that's really good. I love keeping the user on rails, at the very beginning, and then slowly expanding the possibility space. I really like that mechanic. And I even, and I really like, because this is a technique that I try to do in art, bringing people into a game under a certain premise, had to make them think they're doing one thing, and then slowly or very quickly pulling back the curtain and realizing that they're not here under that original pretense, that there's a bigger game happening. Of course, I would like to, as an artist, for that second level of game to not necessarily be money extraction, but there's actually a lot of good design things to learn from these games. And it's just such a weirdly missed opportunity, I think, to create interesting creative stuff. Like, I don't even think that a really good free game could succeed in a mobile app store.
Yeah, I think that's true. If you asked me, should I do this, I would say no, just because just on a purely based on my experience, making art video games, you already have the stink of video games on it, right? But there is a group of people who think about video games and are like, oh yes, I like indie games, and there are these kind of heartfelt games out there, right? There's an audience of people who are kind of ready to suspend disbelief on that. But once you get to mobile games, it's so polluted that, there's like only like, 5 or 10 games that you can point to, like, as like mainstream, like things like Monument Valley, where people can be like, oh yes, a mobile game could be a kind of an aesthetic experience. Apple, to their credit, has tried with Apple Arcade to make this a thing, but and like 5 years ago, they were making like a pretty strong push to do that, but it seems like that's gotten a little more half-hearted lately. I don't think it's necessarily worked very well, and they've got lots and lots of money, so they can continue to do it. But they tried this is from a kind of, for us as a group of crypto bros, I think there's an interesting point here about monetization and incentives, right? The thing that really destroyed the mobile market was was free to play, right? The fact that free to play became the dominant monetization model, and that ad-based and microtransaction-based games became the dominant form of monetization there, just drove it into a kind of race to the bottom that just destroyed the possibility for any kind of aesthetic, interesting experiments. And then because it became this kind of Darwinian competition for storefront real estate, right? This is the reason that nobody is really making indie mobile games anymore, or like interesting artistic mobile games anymore, is because it's so Darwinian to get any piece of storefront real estate, because that real estate is worth so much that if you get into the top 10 list, and that becomes kind of the game, right? It's like, oh yeah, look at this. Let's go. This is what we were looking at earlier. It's so hard. And so then it just becomes, can I get $100 million to pay for user acquisition to get myself onto the top 10? And then maybe I survive or don't survive there. But you can't get on that list without spending a huge amount on user acquisition.
So in all that, one takeaway, which is a lesson that we should have been learning for the last 25, 30 years. Yeah, everything goes to crap when giving things away for free becomes like the default model.
Yeah.
Turns out, bad for media, bad for journalism, bad for music, bad for games.
Bad for TV. TV was TV and radio, right, were the kind of ad-supported, right? The advertising industry, being the patron of the arts, has led us down a whole fucking 100-year toilet spiral.
Yeah, absolutely. And so telling that for a long time, the best TV was on HBO back when it was the only subscription service possible, or the only subscription service that most people knew about or cared about. And now that everything is on a like crank out. Yes, there are subscriptions, but it's essentially the subscription is treated as a free pass to all the media and all the content, and there you go. But anyway, I think that's an obvious point. The other point that I want to make here is I'm glad you mentioned Apple, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, Apple Arcade. Yeah, when they started that service, I was pretty excited about it. I subscribed, and to be honest, it mostly just collected games that I was paying money for anyway. Mini Metro.
Yeah.
They had. Did they get Into the Breach? That's another great mobile game. But most of the games that I'm playing on iPad are ports of games that I already knew they were good from Nintendo Switch or PC or Mac or whatever, and I just like having them on iPad. It's nice. Playing XCOM 2 on iPad, it means that I can do it in an airport. That's nice.
Yeah.
But there's another layer of these games that we haven't talked about, right? We talked, okay, there's like, here we go, here's the shiny shader, all right, here's the, right, coming in here once again, Combat Loop, the 4K builder, the extraction, but the big game, the only game that really matters is the game of getting on the storefront, like you said, right? And I brought up, this graphic. Yes, mobile games. I mean, it's more than just the biggest. It's the biggest by far moneymaker in all of gaming, and all that $91 billion in that bar to the left. Apple has half of it. Half of these transactions go through the iOS App Store. 27% go through Google Play. So Apple's a way bigger player in this than Google is. And so Apple is processing, let's say, 45 billion of this, and they take 30 cents on every dollar, right?
Crazy.
And that's the actual game. And it's a game, once again, where the stuff in the middle of the sandwich doesn't really matter. The game is drive money through the Apple App Store and through the in-app purchases on your Apple device. Apple gets their 30%. And just like the way that Age of War Heroes really doesn't care whether that center gameplay loop is a first-person shooter or a massively multiplayer team fighter, Apple really doesn't care if the middle part of the sandwich is going to be video games, right, or if it's going to be buying, products through their web, whatever browser it is,
Yeah, no, I think that's important, and that's obviously what Tim Sweeney fought a big lawsuit over, which has led to a lot. Tim Sweeney of Epic Games, makers of Fortnite and Unreal Engine, fought a big lawsuit against Apple, which I think is still shaking out and is still making its way through the courts, but there were a lot of very interesting legal documents that were kind of sort of leaked or made it out through discovery, where there was a lot of information revealed about the monopolistic practices of Apple, and they're trying to defend that very, very lucrative, multi-billion-dollar 30% cut they're taking on the App Store. And I give Tim Sweeney a lot of credit for, obviously self-interestedly, he didn't want to give them 30% of his Fortnite take on the mobile version, but I still think it was a ballsy and worthwhile move to challenge them on that and to spend the money on the lawsuit. There's not too many people who could do it or would have the guts to do it, so I give him respect for that. So I think one thing.
So I brought up this game while you were chatting. Sorry, what were you saying?
No, I was just going to say one thing about this is I feel like one of the very these kind of mobile game tropes is how many things in the UI are flashing and blinking at you, and how many of those things are trying to make you buy something. To me, that is one of the things that really makes me not able to play these games, is like alert notifications that you can't get rid of that are except by spending money.
Mm-hmm. No, it's a great call. I wanted to bring this up to close our session, because out of the now 8 or 10 of these free-to-play mobile games that I've played this week, this really does feel like the Uber one. It has the most everything, the most stuff to do. I go to this list to actually do the thing, and then I claim my rewards. I'm getting food and oil. Like, it's got everything, man. Like, I'm gonna have. All right, I got.
Mitch, keep it right there. Keep it right there for a second, though, too, because this is the exact same layout of 5 items that are level up markers. Like, it is. Yeah. It looks exactly the same as the ant game as the undead game. Like, and then you have the things at the bottom, the rewards, and then you just press through. Like, it seems like this is the same engine. Like, that's my guess. They're the same kind of.
Yeah, the structure stays the same. In the middle of the sandwich doesn't matter.
I love how also there's an ignore story toggle button up at the top.
Is there?
Yeah.
If you
get back to that screen, you'll see there's a checkbox to ignore story, which is I definitely would check that box.
If you ignore the story, though, you don't get to see the babes.
So she's in that screen. It's fine. It's enough.
Well, I don't think I get to. You don't get the full view just here.
Ooh, yeah,
but this is like, just this game is the most. Like, look, man, I got the most exclamation mark notifications. I got the most presents here ready to go. And then some of these things where I think I'm buying presents, they're also telling me that they're presents, but only if I bought stuff.
Yeah, that's the key. Yeah.
This game just wins the award for most mobile game, and I can't figure out how to get to the gameplay loop. Right? I've had this game running for maybe like 20 minutes, playing it and recording some gameplay before I met with you guys.
I mean, I think this is the gameplay loop.
No. There's I think
There a shooting
I think
game
there's
in
a
there
part-
somewhere or something?
I gotta upgrade this. No. I just don't know how to get. There's a part where I gotta actually build.
I love all these screens. So
I
many
don't know.
screens.
Like I don't know this. I don't know like the gold. Sure, man. I increase that. I don't know. At some point, I get to fight monsters, but I seriously don't know how. Go. No, I need to. Oh, I think this is I think this is actually playing the game. Yeah, here we go.
Well,
This is the. Okay, so look, man, I got.
immediately out of it again.
Okay, here we go.
This is the best mobile game for a lot of reasons. The gameplay loop is just Vampire.
Oh, we're in
Survivors.
Vampire Survivors. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it auto shooting?
Yeah, it's auto shooting. All I do with this joystick is I move around. It's not as good as Vampire Survivors.
They made a bad trade-off here, which is to make the units 3D, which means they can only have a few of them on the screen. Really
Yeah.
bad choice. Big Dog.
Yes, and I got Big Dog. Yeah, I guess that was the key genius of Vampire Survivors, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It always
Using
is,
modern
man.
hardware to do just like 1,000 pixel sprites was really smart.
Man, Vampire Survivors and Devil Daggers, like just every single game that we play, you know what is the recurring theme? Tone down your graphics so you can do more in gameplay. That's exactly what we said about Minecraft too.
Yeah, 100%. No, I think that's important. You know, the other game that I think is maybe we could, if we want to do another related episode to look at, is Genshin Impact and also Honkai Star Rail, which I actually haven't played at all. But these are an important kind of high effort tier of mobile game that where it really is, it's almost like a Zelda Breath of the Wild type thing, but then it's like riddled with gotcha machine, like random lottery, buying characters, and money extraction mechanics. I think it's a
Yeah, I
definitely
got
like
those.
interesting extreme.
Yeah, I got Honkai Rail. Is that it?
Honkai Star Rail,
Just
yeah.
'cause I was so interested in learning more about the genre.
Yeah.
And I didn't get too far into it. It's not really my style, but I would be interested in that. Do you want to know what games I really wanted to get, and I wish we could have got to, are some of the like OGs in this genre, of the dopamine genre, which were Simpsons Tapped Out.
Whoa.
I remember the like tapping and time release games being, really becoming a big thing, like even like 10, 15 years ago. And
Yeah.
the Simpsons Tapped Out really perfected it. Like they had the IP, it was good, it was funny. I was like addicted to that game for a week. And this is maybe a different genre, but Kim Kardashian's Hollywood is a game that I think about a lot. Do you
Yeah.
know about that, Travis? Kim Kardashian's Hollywood?
Yeah, and is this the one that Corey used for the basis of the Rodeo.Gallery? Like his kind of mobile game he made that played itself?
I don't know. I think I recall hearing something Corey and Kim Kardashian's Hollywood. So maybe, but I'm not
Yeah.
sure. But
Or
it's a
Rodeo.Computer,
real
not
pioneering
Rodeo.
game in this genre, and it was like a moment where I really sat up and thought, Kim Kardashian really knows what she's doing. It was really smart.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, it's called Let's Play Hollywood. It was trained to play Kim Kardashian's Hollywood, a free-to-play
Yeah.
role-playing game for Android.
Boom. Quest complete.
Let's go.
And I gotta say, that's actually the most playing a video game that we've
Yes,
done
I
on the
know.
stream.
It
Right.
was the first time I actually wanted to play a video game when from that, and it wasn't to play this. I was like, oh man, I'd like to play Vampire Survivors. Oh, I could go play Balatro right now. I was like, I just like that was like the thing that clicked on my game mind of like, okay, I want to go play a game now.
I do think there's an
Yeah, that's the
important
most
like,
video game. I definitely, if I had a recommendation, Age of Origins is my recommendation
Age
for
of
the most
Origins.
mobile game. It says everything that it took me 5 minutes just to figure out how to actually get to the monster shooting part
yeah.
from this. Like this is a thing of beauty from all these icons and all these gift boxes to open, all of the particle shaders.
Before we end, Mitch, I have a proposal for you that goes the opposite way. So Matto was talking about don't go to the mobile space, right?
Yeah.
I want you to skip the mobile space and just make the mobile advertisement as the art. Like I just want you to go right over it and just the artwork exists in that ad. You got 30 seconds with people and do it.
Let's just spend 5 minutes on this idea because it's actually a really good idea.
I think so.
Because you can be playing with this history of like Machinima art,
Yeah.
which is a valid
Exactly.
thing, right? And like we've all seen some good Machinima art, but then to perform that intentionally in the advertising space,
Yes, exactly.
that's kind of brilliant.
It's I mean I you know, if I think about the games you've made and like the idea of like the turn and trying to do the turn, and it's like of all the advertisements, I think the thing that interests me most about the Merge Mansion one is because it was really playing with that narrative moment too in it, right? Of the ads, and it's like they seem to be a lot longer than the other advertisements. They're okay that you're just like watching this for a bit, and it's like, yeah, I think there's something there. That's like, it's also more like the effort feels like it's way less intense of like going through like setting up an app store and everything, and just or maybe that's part of it though. Maybe it's like you have to somehow follow through. Maybe it's not a game, but I don't.
Well,
Yeah,
I like it. I
it's-
like it as this kind of fictional artwork gesture, right? That we've
Yeah,
talked
right.
about before. It's like these, which is what these scam ads where you have like this absurd series of things happening that are absolutely not in the game, which I feel like we didn't do the best job of delivering on, to be honest. A lot of our, maybe the Merge Mansion ads were getting that way, but there are some of these things that are just like so wild and just have literally nothing to do with the game that I feel like we haven't fully unearthed yet. But like, yeah, these ads are kind of fictional games in and of themselves, or like, you know, ads about fictional games in and of themselves.
Yeah, the
Well, we
pitch
gotta
is
give credit.
Borges. It's Borgesian game ad, mobile ad, right? Like we need to somehow loop it back on itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, okay. I mean, so first of all, credit to the designers that we saw mostly, we saw mostly games that were exactly what they advertised, right?
Yeah.
Like there weren't a lot
Which
of
is not-
blatant scam.
And that's not the narrative that I feel like I heard going into this. Like it's like, oh, you open it up and it's just a very different game from what even the ad is, right? Like I
Yeah.
feel like that's the narrative I always hear about these kind of things.
Although I
Me
do
too,
feel like
and
I
it wasn't
think
like
we
that.
didn't cherry pick. This was the real Instagram feed, so I think that's like
Yeah.
was a good scientific effort.
Yeah, and most of them were what they were advertised. I'd say the biggest red herring was the Walking Dead game. That
Yeah.
game was definitely not what was shown.
Yeah.
That was definitely the biggest bait and switch. But okay, to the idea. All right, I love the Machinima artwork that we, and honestly, like you spend like a couple $1,000s in ad buys,
Yeah.
and that would be so worth it to have the amazing project. And I don't know if it's something like, yeah, we just do a great Machinima project about like, you know, advertising, maybe like something sort of like Myst meets Camus, all right? And then when you click the install now, it takes you to QuickBooks Online. Like that's the how to install instead. Because we got to do some, like the install now, the play now button at the bottom of the ad. Like that's
Yeah,
a
that is
huge
the
part
reveal.
of this
That
medium
is
that
the
we would be
reveal,
using,
huh?
right? So we have to use it.
Yeah.
properly.
Yes,
it has
without
to
a
be,
doubt.
you don't have to
Without
build
a
the full
doubt.
game, but it has to link to something.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the next part, right? Okay, well, I feel like we have our homework now with this. Like,
Yeah.
let's open the Moodle boards or whatever and start laying this out.
All right. Yeah. Okay. I'll see you on the Pinterest boards, guys.
Yes, yeah. Let's get. I mean,
Awesome.
also, like, I feel like worth saying, right? You shared that for a second. This literally makes up more than half of the whole income
Yeah.
of the gaming market, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
it's and so like Lorna, I think Lorna's left since, but this, like, who is this for? Who are these people playing it? What gender? Like, which genders are being are these appealing to? I think that, Matto, you talked about this a little bit in terms of, like, okay, just like the difference between being at like a mobile game centered event versus like a computer or console game centered event in terms
Yeah.
of what's being talked about. And it's like, I think I would love to know, like, where like this writing is, like where this kind of research is in terms of like who's making the 2-hour YouTube videos, at video essays, not our talks, but like who's going to diving deep with this.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I do think, and this, I don't want to open another topic, so I'll just touch on it briefly, but I do think there's a very important point that you just mentioned about gender. Mobile games are female gendered in the gaming business. It is the genre market category that has the highest percentage of women relative to, let's say, console games or PC games, right? Because generally speaking, women are not buying gaming PCs or gaming consoles, but they do have phones, right? And many women don't even think of themselves as gamers or even as what they're doing as playing a video game, It's this, they have this kind of other relationship to it, and it's this kind of parallel world, which, obviously is like a whole larger topic that we could talk about, but I think that's also a big factor in the market dominance, is that they're tapping this whole audience of people who do not play console or PC games.
Yeah, and that was really interesting. Like the Ant game, like Merge Mansion, right?
Yeah.
Which clearly has like less of a bro vibe. And I know I did say that that boobies were the defining part of the genre. And actually, when we played, first of all, that could have been the algorithm targeting me with some of these games.
Yeah.
Because as we went deep into it, we found that wasn't the case. That was the first few games that I played. And it's dominating because it has twice as big an audience. Another reason why Kim Kardashian's Hollywood was a really important moment in gaming.
Yeah.
Like that game made something like $100 and some million in its first month, and people were like, "Whoa!" And also realizing that it was a lot of female customers.
Yeah, and Candy Crush, right? Candy Crush is like the huge Goliath in this market segment, and is arguably, at the very least, not bro-coded.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a good could be an idea for another episode. Do some
Girl
fem
games.
gaming.
Girl game episode. Yeah, I like that.
All right, but I should run for lunch now, guys.
yeah.
Thanks,
Have a good
guys.
one.
Fun as always.
Yeah,
See you
thanks
next
everyone
week.
for being there. Thanks for bearing with us through our technical difficulties in the beginning. And look forward to talking to you guys. Next week I'll be chatting to you from a beautiful background, so I can't wait to see you all.